Hello and welcome. Let's go ahead and switch on over here. I'm your host, Lichmaster98, or potentially you may know me as Xavier on the Unrestricted Lore Discord server. Welcome on into Faction Turn 10. I'm the GM and host here, and yeah, I hope you enjoy or will enjoy this upcoming stream. So first things first, thanks everyone for a fantastic month, and we're going to be getting ready to run through all of the turns that have been submitted. I appreciate everyone getting those into me so that we could continue along any process needed to take care of that. I have just noticed on the big screen here that my name is slightly overlapping the captions thing, and it is now bothering me. Let me see if I can fix it so that the overlay doesn't have that issue. Oops. Uh, Now it's just off and not aligned. Only it would not snap to things. If I just made it worse, better. Okay, that looks. It's not properly lined up, but I'm not going to be able to fix it much better than that on stream, I don't think. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and let's go ahead and get started. If you don't know what's going on here, welcome to Beacon Space. It's a sci-fi setting set in the future. That's being created by the members of the Unrestricted Lore Fair Discord community. And this sci-fi future, we use these stars without numbers faction turn system with some community variants, community rules to turn it into a multiplayer game. If you're interested in playing in the game, you can do so at our Discord server and come on in and join a faction, and they are more than welcome to, uh, introduce you to the rules and help you get up and running. Also, on the Discord server, you can join to play in our West Marches Free Agents campaign, which uses the Cypher RPG system. And there's actually a session going on the server right now. I don't think it's publicly viewable, unfortunately. Um, but we should have some more streams of those returning shortly. I've been unexpectedly out of town more so in the last week than I was expecting, so I wasn't able to finish wrapping up the post-production to get the next videos of that out. And so unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be one this weekend. I still have, in the next episode that should publish, I still need to um, perform some more editing. There's a portion of the the episode that we're going to fade over in the broadcast and just provide a short explanation of what happened before we jump back into the action, um, at the request of the players and the GMs. So that's just going to take me just a little bit more longer on this turn, or sorry, on this next episode. So probably you can expect those premieres to come back next week. Hopefully on the 17th we'll have an episode for you then. And of course, if you're interested in playing, you can find out more details in the Discord. But with all of that, I think that's announcements to start out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump on into the faction turn. So, as I catch my breath here, we're going to be starting with the resolution of the Telus Group's initiative vote. So last month, the vote or proposal that went forward was the TTGI Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle program, in which factions were asked to submit a number 1 through 9, and the highest unique submission would manage to gain that amount of discount on their next purchase. So for the number selection of 9, 5 factions submitted this value, so none of them will be receiving the discount. One faction submitted the value of 7, one faction submitted a value of 6, and 2 factions submitted non-valid selections and were told by me at the time that they were in fact invalid and were not fixed. So that's the way that works. So the Larkspur Combine has earned themselves 7 faction credits of discount on their next purchase. So to make note of this, it functions a lot like a commodities broker discount. So I'm just going to make a note here. So 7FC discount from the TTGI R cubed program functions like CB discount. So the next time they buy an asset, they'll be able to take advantage of that and gain up to 7 VAT credits discount on their next asset purchase. So congratulations to them. A full list, of course, and the award will go into the Discord announcements following the stream so that there's a textual record of this event. That wraps up the TTGI proposal that needed to be resolved, so we're going to be jumping straight in to faction turns right off the bat then, and I have just realized I don't have the map open, and that is a very disappointing thing to have happen. Here we go. We'll let that load in the background. Great. And I also don't want my Google Drive folder open in this tab, lest I open a private GM document on stream, which would be less than ideal. Okay, so let's get started then with the Larkspur Combine, who just won the discount. They are also going first this turn, so it must just be a lucky turn from them. So they're going to be taking the goal of inside enemy territory, and then I believe this requires them, as the last time we have checked this for them, we need to have them move a number equal to your cunning store of stealth assets onto worlds with other planetary governments. So they're going to be taking that goal and use the use asset ability action. Let's give them their income of 5 action credits, bringing them up to 22. And then let's go take care of the turn details that they have listed right here. So they're going to be moving 2 strike fleets from Tellus to Idarast. So if we go take a look here on our map, we can see that the Larkspur Combine has 2 strike fleets here, both of which are in the stealth variety. And then they're going to be taking those to move to the planet of Idarast down here, controlled by the Assembled Commonwealth. So let's go take care of these movements on our asset tracker, and I think this is sorted by owner, so that makes finding things easier for me. So we have these 2 strike fleets. They are moving from Tellus to Idarast, and then we will go charge for this. The surveyors on Tellus here are also moving, and they are all joining the strike fleets to Idarast. So all of these are within movement range of 2 hexes. That is a total cost of 1 faction credit per strike fleet for a total of 2, and then the surveyors cost 1, or do not cost anything to move, excuse me. So that's going to bring us down to a balance of 20 faction credits. And then we're going to activate a post-tech industry. So that requires rolling a die here to see how much money they potentially earn or lose. So let's see here. That's going to be I believe it's a d6. Correct. All right, so let's go roll that d6 for a 5. So that gives them those 2 faction credits back. Man, Larkspur Combine doing very great on their rolls today. So this is 1d6 equals 6 plus 2 FC. And that, I believe, resolves their turn, but also resolves their inside enemy territory as their cunning score is 3, and they've just moved 3 stealth assets to another world. I believe that was difficulty 2. Let's double check just to make sure we give them the correct amount of XP. Yep, difficulty 2, so they gain up to 4 XP, and I think this is missing goal complete plus 2 XP. Great. Agumala Syndicate up next as we move right along. They are second in today's faction turn. They are not going to be setting a goal, but they will be receiving their 5 faction credits of income, which is a very constant amount of income for factions to be earning in this system right now. Then they'll be taking the Seize Planet action, which will resolve here in just one moment. So the Agumala Syndicate is going to go up to 20 credits of their balance. As a quick note, I am going to be trying to make sure I spend a little bit of time making sure I don't mess up these balance numbers, as we just caught a mistake prior to this turn where I had missed charging an entire asset purchase. So I'm going to spend a few extra seconds every time I need to make a math on this balance row so that I try not to make that big of a mistake for the future. Now let's go worry about the Agumala Syndicate's movements, however. So if we go find the planet of Gome right over here, there is a Cyber Ninjas present by the Agumala Syndicate that are going to be moving from Gome to Nueva Cuauhtémoc via this covert shipping asset here. So that's a perfectly valid move. So this will move down here to Nueva Cuauhtémoc, and that cost 1 faction credit. And then the Agumala Syndicate is going to initiate a seize over here on planet Q with their strike fleet. They already have that asset on board, so that is perfectly fine. And I have just realized I missed asking Larspur Combine a question, but I think from last turn I know the last time this attack happened, I can guess at the resolution phase. Okay, but we'll cover that in just 1 second. Let's go make this movement and then double check the seize, and then we'll worry about the attack in just a moment. Okay, Cyber Ninjas, we're moving to Nueva Cuauhtémoc. Let's take care of that. The Cyber Ninjas take a movement, cost 1 faction credit, bringing us down to 19. And then they're going to start a seize of planet Q. Progress is going to be at 1 out of 3 because there's no opposition on planet Q. They're the only ones present. Now we have the prompt that I forgot to ask, where the Agumala Syndicate are attacking Larspur Combine on Nueva Cuauhtémoc with the Cyber Ninjas, which is a cunning asset. And I believe there was an interesting interaction with the assets on here, because Seductrux have that only Special Forces units can attack them. Okay, so I do actually need a defense, but the only potential defense for the Larkspur Combine is to choose one of these 2 Seductrux. So my apologies, Larkspur Combine, that I forgot to ask, but given that there is only one potential response, as these assets are de-stealthed, I'm just going to roll your defense attack here, as would be expected by against the Cyber Ninjas. So the Agumala Syndicate's Cyber Ninjas attack Cunning versus Cunning with a 2d6 attack. The Agumala Syndicate has a Cunning of +3. The Larspur Combine also has a Cunning of +3, so this is just a d10 +3 versus a d10 +3 roll. And the defensive assets of the Larspur Combine, being the Seductrux, do not have a counterattack, so we don't need to worry about that. So this will be the Agumala Syndicate's roll, where we'll roll a d10 +3, or an 11. Larkspur Combine's d10 +3 on the defense is only a 5, so the attack is successful. A 2d6 for damage is almost guaranteed to kill an asset, but we'll make the roll anyway. So 10 damage will kill one of those 2 Seductrux. Let's go record that result in the faction turns. Okay, so right over here, this is a 1d 10 plus 3 equals versus a 1d 10 plus 3, resulting in 8 plus 3 equals 11 versus 2 plus 3 equals 5. Attack successful. 2d6 equals 10 damage. So, asset destroyed. Defending asset destroyed. I'm not going to be able to figure out how to spell Seductrix without looking it up. So, Larkspur Combine is going to just lose one of these. They're both identical at this point, so it does not matter which one, so I will just choose the one on the bottom because that makes my life easier. And there we go. That wraps up the Argomol Syndicate's turn. And again, my apologies, Larkspur Combine, that I did not notify you beforehand, but it looks like there was only one possible defensive method there. So, we'll move on to the next faction in the list for this turn, which is the Assembled Commonwealth, who I believe, have an asset that I can take out of Purchase Sickness. So, the Assembled Commonwealth are going to take their fantastic turn by taking the Exploration goal and action, as is quite common. But before we worry about completing that, let's go give them their 6 faction credits, bringing them up to 25. They're then going to use the covert shipping asset on Peleus to move a commodities broker located also on Peleus to the point of interest XLVIII, or 48. There's currently an active TTGI vote from last turn that removes the cost moving onto an unexplored point of interest. So let's take a look at this. Let's find the planet of Peleus right down here, where we can find both the covert shipping and the commodities broker. And it looks like point of interest 48 is right down here in the system of 1214. So we'll go make that movement for the Assembled Commonwealth's commodities broker. And they're moving the one on Peleus. So that's this one right here. Just make sure that's the only one correct. And that is moving to XLVIII. Perfect, 1214. And then they're going to be exploring there. So to do so, we need to go take a look at the exploration rules, and the next planet is AE. So to explore, there's a 1d10 plus the stat of the asset against the difficulty. Difficulty of this is difficulty 10, as it's 1 hex away from an explored planet. And the commodities broker is a wealth asset, so the Assembled Commonwealth gain a +6 on this roll, so a 1d10 plus 6 versus DC 10, d10 plus 6. They have roll of 14, so that is a success. Let's go record the result of that roll before we go add the planet on. So this was d10 plus 6 greater than 10. 8 plus 6 equals 14. Success. So now we need to roll a d6 to figure out how many planets there are in this system. We're guaranteed at least one, which is all we get. So as we use the handy-dandy macro to roll a planet, very disappointingly, there is not a ruin. Somebody's going to have to figure out how many times I've rolled a d20 for ruins and not yet managed to roll one, just for the fun statistics there. But it hasn't happened yet. So let's go add this planet, 1214. This is planet AE. It has the mechanics tag of force assets built on this world cost 1 less. It is an outpost. Yep, that's fine, thank you. That is TL3, with an airless or thin atmosphere that is a variable warm planet with an immiscible biosphere. It has the tags of Cold War and revanchists. And I think almost every planet the Assembled Commonwealth has explored has been a fairly small um, population. They'll have to correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember them being the one to explore both of these failed colonies, and now they've only revealed an outpost. So their luck as far as finding high population worlds has not gone too well. But anyway, here's the results of that right there. If people are wanting to take a look at the new planet roll in a little bit more detail. Uh, Luckless, I think you might be right. It is like something close to 0 out of 700. I've rolled quite a few planet creations here and have not yet rolled a 20 on the d20. Um, uh, since I've mentioned it again and it has come up, if we manage to get through, um, at some point, there has been another mechanic kicked around by the mod team about how we would introduce ruins if we don't find any just through the natural d20 rolls. So there is a backup plan in place should, for some reason, it be needed. But that takes care of that goal, which was successful. So let's go give the Assembled Commonwealth their 2 XP, bringing them up to 11. And then they have another thing they need to complete on their active faction quests. Um, I have asked them to assign an asset to the dice pools, and so they need to assign a covert shipping asset based off their rules. And it has been chosen to side with the Royalists. So I didn't actually start this on the spreadsheet earlier because it wasn't quite yet necessary, but now it is. So Royalists have, I believe this is, let me double check their notes. I want to figure out what color die I'm supposed to be assigning, and I didn't write it down beforehand, even though I know it is a thing. Um, do 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 do. Let's see. These are just black dice, I believe. Yes. Yep, an asset adds a black die to the corresponding pool. Okay, so this has one addition. So this is up to 2 B6, 1 G6, and then the Republicans have 1 B6 and 1 G6. That hopefully will tell me. Great. Okay, I think that adds that. Hopefully that note is understandable if you've gotten the rules. The Assembled Commonwealth can tell me if that is confusing to them, and if so, we can adjust this layout in the future. They also have a few other tracking things that can earn them um, additional dice. Um, so as that happens, I will be keeping an eye out for them. They haven't done so yet, but I would ask, since I'm thinking about it, Assembled Commonwealth, if you are completing an action that makes progress on one of those triggers or completes it, please try to make a note in your turn submission. Hopefully, I will catch it, but otherwise, that will definitely help out just in case I do miss it. But that takes care of the Assembled Commonwealth's turn, and let's move on on to the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who are going to earn their 5 faction income, bringing them up to 18 faction credits before they go buy an asset. So, I'm going to need to refine this a little bit, but they're going to be buying a strike fleet on the planet of 1510, planet X, where they have purchased one previously. So let's go ahead and insert an extra row, add a Concord of Mutual Disdain, add a strike fleet, cost of 12. I believe I should be able to just appropriately drag down all of that. And this is on planet X. This is going to have purchase sickness, but this one actually loses it. And then the previous strike fleet on 1510 of the Concord of Mutual Disdain is going to be relocating itself to 1612, which may just be a point in space that I need to go add. So 1 second. We'll go check the map once I type this in. Okay, so over here on the map, we can see that 510 is right here. And in fact, yes, 1612 is just space. And so this is the strike fleet that is beginning to make its way out that way. I don't think anyone's on 1705 anymore, so I'm just going to change that one over to 1612. Perfect. That wraps up Concord of Mutual's Disdain's turn. Once I go charge them for the asset, which we will do now so that I don't forget, a strike fleet costs, I believe, 12 faction credits. So let's take care of that, bringing them down to 6. And then the movement cost 1, bringing them down to 5. Which should wrap up the Concord of Mutual Disdain's turn. And then it looks like Twitch chat, you figured out that there's something like an 80% chance that I've discovered a ruin or something like that. That's what people's feelings are. I think it's got to be something crazy like that. But moving on to the Starlight Court, let's go give them their income before they go buy an asset of themselves. So Starlight Court gains 4 faction credits, bringing them up to a balance of 11. And then they will then be purchasing a smuggler's asset on Ingrid. Where they, where they do have a base of influence, but I believe Ingrid is controlled by Amalhar Institute. Man, I have forgotten this buy trigger now twice, 2 turns in a row. Oops. Uh, but given some faction turn knowledge, I know the Amalhar Institute will not be opposing this. Kier, if I am wrong, please DM me and correct me, but I'm pretty sure you are fine with the Starlight Court making this purchase. Should you not be, let me know and we can fix that. And then we're going to want all of these from a non-base of influence row. And this would be a smuggler's asset. That is the Starlit Quartz. That has purchase sickness. This costs 2 faction credits, bringing them down to 9. Alright. Thanks, Twitch chat. And, here. Cool. Cool. And then they're going to be moving a strike fleet that is currently on a point of interest in 1702. Right up here. They're moving this strike fleet to 1801. Okay. So 1801, that cost 1 faction credit, which brings them down to 8. 1801 is going to require me to add a planet map so that the map display doesn't break. Is anyone on 1503? No, okay, I'm going to replace 1503 then with 1801. And then the strike fleet that was currently on 1702. Great, can move to 1801. And then, right, great. That takes care of all of that. I've charged them for the asset. I charged them for the movement. Then they're going to take an action on their quest, which is called the ping action, where they're going to be taking some additional bonuses. So this is a D10 roll against difficulty 10. They're going to be spending 3 faction credits to gain a +3, and the asset doing this search takes a D4 of damage, and that is the strike fleet on in 1801. In 1801, which gains them a +2, so they'll have a +5 to this roll. So let's go make all of the deductions first. That brings them down to 5 faction credits. They're taking a D4's worth of damage, so they're taking 2 damage on the strike fleet that just relocated itself. So that should be right here, bringing it down to 6. And then let's see how their D10 +5 works out for them. Hey, they get a 12, which is a success. So let's go note that down. So this is 7 + 5, which is 12. Success. So I will be telling them the information that they have gained from this action when I send out turn orders after faction swaps have occurred. So you'll get that updated information at that point in time, Starlight Court. If I do not give it to you, please have your faction rep remind me, but that shouldn't be a problem. Congratulations on the first successful ping as part of your quest. With that, though, we're going to move on over to the next faction in the faction turn today, which is the Amelhart Institute, who are going to be taking the exploration action, and gaining the 5 faction credits that is quite common of many factions here, bringing them up to 37 faction credits. They're going to explore the point of interest in 405, where they already have a commodities broker. If we take a look at our map, right over here, they have a commodities broker that is located here. And they will be succeeding at cost if necessary. So the commodities broker, as we know earlier, was a wealth asset. They have a wealth score of +6, and the difficulty of this roll is difficulty 12, as it is 2 hexes away from Ingrid. So let's go roll a d10 plus, oops, not what I was trying to do, a d10 plus 6, hopefully getting better than a 12. Ouch. That would be a nat 1 for a total of 7. So that is a failure, but succeeding at cost is a d4's worth of damage to the asset. Right over here, for anybody wondering, d4 of damage. So 4 damage taken to that commodities broker asset. Quite unfortunate for the Amelhart Institute, but it does give them a success on this exploration, so that brings this down to 6 HP. And then let's see how many planets are present here. Wow, two ones in a row. That's unfortunate, especially with that 4 in the middle there. That's GM dice hacks, isn't it? I think that's what most people would say. But anyway, here's the planet they've revealed. Let's go enter it in the spreadsheet, and then I'll give people another chance to look over that roll result if you didn't get enough time yet. So 0415, I believe, is where that asset is located. Yep, just wanted to double check. So that's going to make us planet AF, as I forgot to update this, but it is planet AF. Maybe I should have skipped this one, but oh well. The tactic assets built on this world cost one less faction credit. There are billions of population, however, with a TL4 infrastructure containing a thick atmosphere that is variable cold, without a native biosphere, along with the tags of cheap life and major shipyard or major space yard. Great. The ruins result was a 12 on the d20, so that is not a success. Here's that planet again if you missed it earlier. I'll give you a few seconds to look this over. Perfect. That does complete the goal successfully for them, so we'll go give the Amelhart Institute their 2 XP, bringing them up to 10. And that takes care of their turn then. Perfect. So we'll move right on along to the next faction in our list of the Tahora Fa'i, who are also taking the exploration goal and the exploration action. And they're also gaining 5 faction credits. So let's give them that first, bringing them up to a total balance of 11. And then they're going to be exploring, but first we're going to take advantage and resolve a revised charts roll for trying to modify a planet within their constellation of Diane. So they are going to be taking advantage of the option to gather modification points, which is a medium difficulty action. And these modification points can be spent, to adjust either the atmosphere or the temperature of a planet in succession. So you gain 1 modification point for being successful, and then you gain an additional 1 for each 2 points over the difficulty you succeed. So their roll on this is going to be a 1d10 roll plus the bonus of their constellation, which is currently a +4. And this is affecting the planet of Diane, which is right over here in 0609. So let's go ahead and roll this d10 +4 for them, which has resulted in a 7, which is not a success. So nice try, but unfortunately no luck in this regard. So this was a 3 + 4 = 7 failure. But with that, we can move on to their next task, which is exploring the point of interest in 0310 with this strike fleet, which is present here. To do so, it's going to be a 1d10 +5 roll against a DC of 10, because the nearest explored planet is only 1 hex away. They've rolled a 14 on this roll, which is very successful, so no damage needed to succeed, and they're going to be revealing only 1 planet. So this has rolled a 9 + 5 = 14, success. All right, so let's now reveal that planet. And let's transfer it on over into the thing. So this was 313. So this would be planet AG, which has facility assets built on this world cost 1 faction credit less. Man, I think every planet we've explored today has added some type of asset cost 1 less tag, which is I guess not too surprising. There are quite a few numbers of them in the potential list, but still an interesting outcome. So that's then corrosive and invasive with a temperate temperature with no native biosphere. That is both cheap life and an outpost world. Perfect. So that should hopefully take care of adding this planet in. Great. For those of you interested in the roll results, here it is. Perfect. All right, now they have some movements that need to be taken care of. So the strike fleet that it just finished its exploration is going to be moving into an empty hex, which this was currently in 310 right here, and it's going to be moving to the empty hex 02112. So let's go ahead and done that. And the strike fleet down here in 09 or 0709, excuse me, is going to be moving to the 0510 system of planet A. Both of those movements cost 1 faction credit, and we can see down here that those are all perfectly fine. This strike fleet can move to planet A, and this strike fleet can easily move to the 212 hex right down there. Those costed 2 faction credits, so let's go charge that to the Dahora Fayi, bringing them down to 9 faction credits. And then we moved into an empty hex, so let me go fix this. We just moved out of this one though. That was nice of them. So I can add 0212 right here and not have the map break, hopefully. Let's go give them their XP for completing their goal of exploration, bringing them up to 3 experience, and that resolves their turn. It was just noted to me that I did not move on the Emilhart Institutes, that I missed moving their asset, so let's go take care of that for them. They wanted to move the commodities broker from the point of interest that was just explored to a new point of interest in 0315. So that costs them 1 faction credit by using the covert shipping that is located right here in 413 back here. So this can move from here to 1305 without a problem for 1 faction credit. So that would be the Emilhart Institute, bring them down to 36 faction credits. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, let me check chat here. One second, is there a typo? It says 313, not 310. Let's double check this. Yeah, that was at 310. Let me go double check. This may have been just a... Okay, so this was a mistake in the submission that I did not catch. It's just supposed to be 310 though. Obviously I did what was intended, so let's go ahead and fix that. 310, 310, planet map. Did I create it at 310 or 313? I put it in the wrong spot. Easy fix. This one is now 313, and this one is 310, and we will live that they are out of order. No, I will fix these because that will bother me if they were out of order. This can go up here. This can just be renamed its point of interest. And then these can just be emptied out. Thank you for catching that. Yes, there is still no cost from the TTGI thing that lasted through the end of this turn. So any movement into a point of interest this turn is only the cost of movement. There is no extra cost, so that goes away at the end of this turn. Oops, that was not what I was trying to do. Cheap life and outpost world. Thank you for catching that. That the thing listed for the system was wrong. I appreciate that. I think that wraps up then both of those fixes. And we can move on to the second to last faction in the order this month, which is Ascent, who is going to be taking the Seize Planet action, and needs to be given their income of 5 faction credits, bringing them up to 25. And let me go fix this so that it actually has the correct amount, 5 credits. They're going to be seizing Planet V, which is perfectly fine for them. That is located over here at 1405, and they do need to move an asset onto that planet to do so, but they do so right at the start of their turn. So they're moving the Smuggler's asset and Tripwire cells from 1502 right up here down to 1405. So we can find Ascent, the Smugglers and Tripwire cells both relocate themselves down to planet V. And then they're going to take the seize, then they're going to be seizing that planet, which is perfectly fine. So seize planet V. Progress is now at 1 of 3. I'm not sure why I have a note on the thing that says, okay, didn't copy that over, great. So that finishes up Ascent's turn. We've given them their money, we did their movement. Smuggler's movement, I believe, is at the cost of 1 faction credit, so we should charge them for that. Ascent then goes down to 24 faction credits, and that finishes up their turn. With that, we're going to move on to last but certainly not least of our factions, with the Children of the Vein coming in 9th this turn, who are going to be continuing the trend of exploration. But let's go give them their 7 faction credits, bringing them up to 23. And then they're going to be exploring with a strike fleet that is located in 805. So if we come right over here, they have a strike fleet located right there for this point of interest. It is going to be rolling with a force asset, so a +6 against a difficulty of 12 with a d10 roll. So d10 +6, DC 12. Ouch. That hurts with a 5, resulting only in the result of 11. So that is a d4's worth of damage for 2 damage on the strike fleet. So this was a 5 plus 6 equals 11. Failure. 1d4, or sorry, 2 damage to succeed. Perfect. Which brings them, which is going to damage that asset. So let's find it. That's the one on this point of interest. So it goes down to 6. Why are they on a different one for a sense asset? Probably the tripwire cells and the... Oh, in their turn orders. I don't know why they were listed that way. No idea. I'm assuming it was a mistake. Because quite obviously they weren't. There we go. With that, though, let me figure out where I was at. So this success now needs to be rolled a d6 to figure out how many planets there are. Ooh, a 6. I believe that's all 3 planets. Wrong page. A 6 is 3 planets. So congratulations. We'll add all of these in rapid succession. And this goes into the hex of 0508. 0805. Wow, I just totally read that backwards. I'm going to need 2 more rows here, thank you. Which is going to require me to fix all of my cell calculations afterwards. So this is planet AH, AI, and AJ. So for planet H, we have the results of this has wealth assets owned by the planetary government deal 1 additional damage for attacks and counterattacks with a population of millions, which is TL4, along with a thick atmosphere that is variable cold and has no native biosphere, with the tags of Space Magic Fear and Quarantined World. Planet AI has a mechanics tag of logistic facilities, cost 1 less. There are tens of millions of population located on this TL4 world that has a thick atmosphere, which is cold, and has a missable biosphere, along with the tags of Civil War and Nomads. And then planet AJ has a mechanics tag of the ones where you gain +2 cunning assets and loses 1 from another asset cap you choose upon seizing, and it can change with every person who seizes. There are tens of millions of population here. That is TL2 with another thick atmosphere. It is, however, burning in temperature with a missable biosphere, with the tags of colonized population and out of contact. Let me bring these over so you can take a look at all of them, and I will scroll through them here safely. Here's the second and third. Can I quite fit them on the screen? Not quite. So there's the second one, and here's the final one. No Ruins roll was a 20, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But we'll be moving right along. The next thing I need to do to continue working on this turn is to move the strike fleet that was located for Children of the Vein in 0805, and it's going to be moving to 0904. This only costs 1 faction credit because, again, the TTGI discount is active. It resolves and finishes up after this turn passes, brings their balance down to 22, and completes the goal, giving them 5 experience. Let me take a quick scroll through the asset tracker and find things that are on the wrong planet, because we have added some new planets this time. That one's fine. Okay, only one of them that I had not fixed. So hopefully that should mean the map doesn't break once it updates with the new changes. If you find a asset that doesn't appear on the map, or it sort of breaks here in the next 10 minutes as Google propagates the changes out, feel free to ping me, but I'll keep an eye on it and make sure that I haven't broken it by adding new planets in, and those new floating in space locations. That wraps up all of the faction turns from the factions, so thank you very much to everyone who submitted those. And then we're going to be moving right along to taking care of something with the planet of Tellus. So the auto clock continues, bringing the terraforming clock up to a 7. I need to make a note that the This, however, does mean that we have reached our point for the impact, I believe, for the comet Stravocaro that was making its way in. So, this means, let me double check my notes. Yes, this means that I get to announce the impacts that will occur. Let's see, that will occur next turn. And I have a small statement that's prepared to do so. But before I read that out, I do have one other change I need to make to Tellus. The world in its terraforming progress has become TL5. So TL5 assets can now be built on the planet of Tellus if you can get permission to build there and have the requisite stat requirements. The other announcement for the comet is that public officials are now warning that the planet Stravocaro, or the comet Stravocaro, is going to impact Tellus. TTGI, in coordination with the Tellus' government, appears to have prepared for this effort, ensuring that no assets on world will take any damage as a result of this impact. Potential negatives, however, do include terraforming setback, a negative effect on planetary conditions, potentially for a temporary time rather than a permanent impact, and potential restrictions on asset construction due to on-world adverse conditions. So that takes care of that. These any changes from that, this text blurb will be in the faction turn list, so in the channel, so you'll be able to take a look there. And these changes will take place when the clock clicks up to 8 at the end of the following turn. So it won't happen at the beginning, it'll happen at the end in the same step where I've been adding changes to tell us overall. So that takes care of the changes to the tellus as a result of the terraforming clock that is still making progress. And that means we just have one final thing for the faction turn, which is the newest Tellus Terra Group proposal, which was proposed by the Agomala Syndicate this turn. They will be putting forward the TCGI Terraforming Decision 3, which is the option that's gone up previously for choosing an additional faction or planet tag, to add to the planet of Tellus. So the three options this month are Seagoing Cities, Trade Hub, and Psionics Academy. An option needs to gain more than 50% support to be selected, and as of course that could potentially mean that we end up with needing a fourth decision vote, as there are still three options left. If it gets down to 2 and this comes up again, it will just be whichever has the majority support, not strictly needing greater than 50%. So this will be posted, of course, in the Faction Turn channel and Discord pretty shortly after the stream ends, so that I can go over that, and people have it in a text form as well. So, with all of that, I think that that wraps up this faction turn. I thank everyone for getting your turns submitted and participating. So, some other upcoming important dates that you may want to know about is that coming up on July 24th is when we're looking at doing the next lore stream. So me and Calbrek will be back bringing you some more news from across the sector, and hopefully our cold open won't have all the technical difficulties that it did last time. And then the next faction turn will take place on August 7th. So the first Saturday in August is the current projections for the faction turn. More explicit dates regarding deadlines will be posted in FacRep's channel, but it'll be the standard deadlines of 48 hours and 72 hours for the faction turn and trade locks, respectively. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. I mentioned at the start of the stream, but I guess I'll repeat it now. Free agent episodes should return in their premieres next week. Um, but again, if you want to participate in that, you can always join a session in the Discord channel. I know Cal's had some scheduling concerns with trying to get some schoolwork done recently that has caused him to offer less sessions than he may have liked. But sessions should be returning and still having some availability, especially for US folks in time zones, um, hopefully within the next week or two. Um, but life is what it is sometimes with scheduling RPG sessions. So, thanks everyone for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the Faction Turn stream. The YouTube VOD of this will be up probably on Monday if anyone needs to take a look at it then. And then, of course, it'll be available on Twitch for the next 2 weeks. Um, yeah, I've been your host, Xavier Stortes, Lichmaster98 on Discord. And yeah, the host here at Unrestricted Lorefare for the Faction Turns within Beacon Space. Thanks everyone once again. I'll leave you with some fun tunes for the next few minutes as we wrap up the stream today. Thanks.